Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we will be looking once again at the Petropavlovsk, because the Petropavlovsk has been, I'm just going to call it the Petro, right? has been back fixed, I would say, in one of the last patches, and that's why people were asking, hey, what's the impact of that? Do you think that makes a big difference? So if you weren't aware of that, the X turret, so the third turret here on the rear, is used to be not 360 degrees. So if it was pointing all the way this way, it would have to rotate around the stern of the ship and then point to the other side. They fixed that by installing because if you look at the side of here, there's no way that these gun barrels are passing through that superstructure. So they have installed the secret Soviet transphasic gun barrels that can just exit our dimension, go through the superstructure and come out the other side without any problems. So now what you can do is you can angle like this and then get the rear gun on target. And then you can angle like that, and the rear gun is just passing through the superstructure and pointing on the other side of the ship. So does that change anything about the Petro? Well, no. End of video. That's it. See you all next time. No, I'm joking. What is it about the Petro that I don't like? Because you might have figured out by now that I'm not much a fan of this line of ships. She's a super, on PC, right? The Petropavlovsk is one of the most overpowered ships in the game, which is mostly down to her armor and the armor mechanics in game, because you can, as a cruiser, perfectly well angle against battleship armor-piercing shells, and if you angle your armor and then it just bounces off, you don't have any problems. Not so much in Blitz, because armor angling as a mechanic doesn't exist, and your armor is literally just what you get, which means that this is a super cruiser. And you all know what I think about supercruisers. She has the maneuverability of a battleship, the armor of a cruiser, and the guns are pretty meh, really, in my opinion. So let's do a very quick comparison again between the Petro and the Hindenburg, because the Hindenburg is an absolutely excellent ship, and I'm not saying that because it's German. The Petro actually has thicker armor than the Hindi, That is really like some chunky armor, and she's even got more hit points. But that's kind of where it ends. The Hindi is significantly more maneuverable, and the Hindenburg has the better guns. You mean, Terry? It's all the greenish, like the puke green yellow tint things is on the left side. Well, yes, but the Petro has 9 guns and a 14-second base reload on 220mm guns. The Hindi has 12 guns, and they're German, and she's got a 10-second base reload. So, I maintain that Hindenburg's got better guns than this thing. Plus, the Petro gets a 5 degrees per second turret traverse on 220mm turrets. That's battleship turret traverse. Well, it kind of really follows. She does get a set of secondaries, which aren't actually terrible. So these are 130mm secondaries, and they have a decent range, really, really decent range, with just over 7 kilometers. The problem is, if you are, you're gonna use them, because you're gonna have to entertain yourself while you're waiting for your main guns to reload, if you have anything in range. Unfortunately, there's only 12 of them, so 6 on each side. So it's not like that you can do a huge amount of damage with them. No torpedoes on these things, and the Petro does have a really decent AA. We'll believe her that, but she's probably going to need that as well. You do get a single rapid reload, and that's kind of the saving grace here a little bit, because you can bump that up obviously to 3 precise aim and 2 rapid reloads, but it's a rapid reload 1. It's giving you 15% faster reload on 14 seconds, which isn't going to be a huge amount. And in the end, it really just, doesn't work that well, because you have more armor than most other cruisers. It's an Alaska problem. You've got more armor than most other cruisers, but your guns compared to the other super cruisers are actually really low caliber. I mean, Yoshino. Where's the Yoshino? Let's have a look. very quickly, just for me to point that out to you. Yoshino is tier 10, isn't she? Japanese cruiser. There she is. The Yoshino has 300, the same gun layout, 310 millimeter guns with well, I don't know what the base reload was, but I think it was like 12 seconds or something. Let's quickly add her to the comparison, just to, just compare these two. Yoshino gets rapid reload, Yoshino gets precise aiming, Yoshino gets a hydro. You kind of see it on the graph there. If the left side completely covers the right side, then there's something wrong. Yoshino is more maneuverable by a margin than this thing, and she gets 310 millimeter guns with a 1 second faster reload than the Petro. And she actually has useful torpedo tubes. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, I'll show you just some gameplay, and just to round that up. And there's one more point that I actually want to point out, especially around the 360-degree rear turret. So let's do that quickly. So here we are in your typical, oh, screw it battle. It's a tier 10 battle. We are an epicenter on chain. There's a carrier in play. And we've got Vermont, Double Yama, and Iowa, Shima, and Daring. I am outclassed by everything on the enemy team. There's nothing that I'm actually useful against with these things. So I'm going to show you what that looks like in practice. Because battleship maneuverability, cruiser armor, okay, a bit better than cruiser armor, but still cruiser armor, extremely slow firing guns for their caliber, no utility when it comes to destroyers. So really the only thing this thing can do, and I think this is also where the idea comes from, is to sit at range and use the 360-degree rear turrets to do something about it. So let's see that in action, shall we? I am obviously, if I'm going to be able to actually hit anything, because all these battleships are going to be squatting at the other end of the map, I am going to have to, get myself into an island position. So here you see that the turrets just swung through the superstructure. Well, I think actually in the model here you can almost see it that they seem to be not going through the superstructure. But anyway, carrier's going the other side, so I would have lent some AA support if I could. She's no Worcester, but yeah. The other thing that I wanted to mention is look at the gun angles. Right? Here, this is how much broadside I have to give to get the rear turret on target, because the superstructure is in the way. So you mostly, if you give this much skirt to enemy battleships of the Yamato and Vermont persuasion, you're not going to have a great time. So I'm going to park myself next to that island here. And I have a Daring to shoot at. Oh, great. I have the armor-piercing loaded, so a precise aim out. Daring, I think, is stopping. And the armor-piercing is just over-penetrating, so over to the high explosive. Unfortunately, with a 14-second reload, while the Daring has smoked up, and I'm going to have to wait for quite a while until my guns are reloaded. But now I've got the high explosive loaded. Unfortunately, now I'm also getting shot at, so I'm going to have to move. There's the Daring, shots out, and back to the armor-piercing, because at this range, well, I haven't hit the Daring anyway. And so I might have to start shooting at other things. And yes, I had to dodge those Daring torps that were quite obviously coming in. So Daring is still sailing around there. So I'm going to get another salvo off at that thing. And no, we haven't hit it once again. Because, it takes the shots quite a while to get there. Destroyers have been dodging. The Shima is in my secondary range, but, well, I can't hit the Shima, so I might as well start shooting at the Vermont. Now, here's the other thing, right? If you're using that armor-piercing against an American battleship at this range, yeah, you're doing a bit of damage, but not really a huge amount. And obviously I'm going to have to reverse again, because it's going to be torpedoes coming in. And which means now we're going to go back to finding where that thing is. There he is, done a little bit of damage, been set on fire, but are being shot at obviously by everybody, because we have to give a lot of broadside to get all guns to bear. And now we're back behind the island, using our first heal while getting shot at by all the battleships. Now, they're not easily going to take you down, and the obvious torpedoes once again, they're not easily going to be taking you down, but I can't lob that because flat shell arcs. You know, if you get focused by battleships, especially in those calibers, there's not really an awful lot you can do about it. And against battleships, you are not particularly useful. Against destroyers, you're not particularly useful either. The very one thing that you are useful as is a cruiser killer. If you can, you know, pop the rapid reload and get like a light cruiser that's like a booster or something that's sitting broadside out in the open, or doing other things, then yeah, maybe that's kind of that's your use here. But I mean, look at the performance of the high explosive against that daring, right? That was 220mm high explosive, and it's semi-penned. That is just disgusting. And now at least the two destroyers are dead, so we should be able to just, you know, deal with things now. But against battleships, as noted, the armor piercing isn't doing an awful lot. So I am going to have to resort to the high explosive, which is also not doing an awful lot, because it's really not very good. And that means that once again, like probably my most useful action in this game so far has been, you know, to help kill the destroyer and make sure that we're holding the middle ring. I can't push out into the center ring easily, because I'm just going to get murdered by the Yamatos and the Vermonts out there. So yeah. It's once again one of those ships that works really well on PC because of the mechanics, but in Blitz has absolutely not the same amount of utility as, or overpoweredness as you would find. So this is quite often the case just because of the different mechanics. Now, I've been able to recover a little bit of health, and honestly, if you're shooting at battleships, just use the armor piercing, because the HE isn't doing a great deal, and a 14-second reload is just too long to HE spam things, unless you have like targets of opportunity. But the armor piercing is kind of okay, but honestly, I prefer the German armor piercing on a Hindenburg. So Vermont isn't looking at me, so I'm just nosing a little bit forward to get my guns. And since nobody is capturing the center cup and the destroyers are not interested, I'm actually going to have to risk it here and get myself into the center cup. And then, yeah, once again, the battleships start shooting at me, including the Vermont, which is very unfortunate. So, yeah, I got lucky not to get deleted there, because at this range, Vermont is going to hurt. But even I should be able to beat the reload of a Vermont. Okay, we've got the capture circle, and we've lost a lot of health in the process, but we have the center cup. So that's that, and now I can just back off again. And have you noticed how often I've used my rear turret? And especially how often I have used the 360-degree rotation ability of my rear turret. And by the way, that's an Iowa that I'm shooting at, right? This is one of the squishiest battleships you can shoot at, and I'm just bouncing my shells off that thing. I'd have scored 3 citadels with a Hindenburg by now on that guy. Yeah, now I'm using it, but you know, I could have used it without the 360-degree turn. So, yeah, nah. Yeah, nah, I'm good, thank you. And I think I might get one more shot off at that Iowa, and then I'm going to get taken out here because there is a bit of focus fire. And let's see if we can survive for another second. Just maybe the Iowa has someone else to shoot at. Maybe we can kill the Iowa. Yeah, the Iowa is shooting at someone else. We survive on 1900 hit points, and we still got the kill on the Iowa. I think I deserved that one. So Yama is about to go down. That just leaves the enemy carrier, who hasn't had much fun. And I mean, I haven't really been able to use my AA capabilities, but yeah, that's a dead Yama. And yeah, there he goes. And that's pretty much game. So yeah, no. I don't like this ship, and honestly, I don't think this is a very good line. I think it has been. It feels like the Soviet battleship line that is extremely powerful on PC, and probably people were expecting it to be extremely powerful here as well. But honestly, for most tasks, there are ships that are better suited to them. If you want to do long range sniping, get yourself a battleship. They can do these sort of things, you know. If you want to hunt destroyers, get yourselves a light cruiser, or even a heavy cruiser. They can do these things. If you want to be a carrier, if you want to be anti-air support, get yourself an American cruiser. Any of them will do. Like, all these things, right? There are ships that are doing it better than this one. So, that whole line is not for me. That's just, all I got. But once again, if you enjoy these ships for any reason, don't be discouraged. Maybe there is something that, even if you just have fun in them, and that's perfectly fine for everyone. It's not that because I say I don't like these ships that they're necessarily super bad, but I personally haven't found anything about these ships that I would particularly enjoy. So whoever does, good on you. Anyway, that's all I got today. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.